but 2012 was when I had my major spiritual awakening. Um, January 11, 2012, 111, 2012. Never forget it. Um, just so happens that 111 represents new beginnings,
Mm.
numerologically. um, so the way it happened for me was I was at this point in my life where I had everything that I thought I wanted. I was doing the celebrity thing, and I had a big YouTube channel. I had a hot girlfriend. I had friends, but I still felt empty. And it was like there was this void that I was constantly trying to fill. And and so what happened was I was I was dating this girl at the time, and she while I was dating her, she kept telling me that she was seeing demons, that she was seeing bad spirits, and I thought she was nuts. And I thought it was a cry for attention because she was that type of person. There was always something with her, So this just felt like an escalated version of her wanting attention. And so she would say things about demons and stuff. I'm like, okay, enough with the demons. And then eventually it got to the point where I just couldn't take it anymore. And I'm like, okay, I'm like, you know what? I heard of this energy healer dude, and I didn't believe in energy healing at the time. And I'm like, I heard of this energy healer dude. He's crazy. I'm like, you're crazy. Let me put you two crazy people together that maybe you guys could help each other. As you could tell, I was still an asshole back
Yeah.
then. And so um, I reached out, sent him a text. I'm like, hey, my girl's seeing demons. Can you help? He's like, yeah, sure, no problem. Bring him over. He didn't even ask any questions. I'm like, oh, this guy's going to be nuts. And and I had this picture in my mind. I'm like, he's probably one of these like old white guys with a long beard and like crystals and hippie shirt. Like that's what I was picturing in my head. And when I went to go meet up with him, I was actually really surprised that he was just a regular dude. Like when I got to his house, he was literally like in track pants eating a Pop Tart and just like very regular Armenian dude. And so that took down my guard. I'm like, oh, cool. He seems chill. And so this is where things got really magical because he brought us into his healing room, which is basically just a room with a massage table and a couch. And he tells my girl to lie down on the massage table while I sit on the couch and watch. Tells her to close her eyes. And then he closes his eyes and he starts to do this chakra DJ type thing above her body. It's like he's just waving his hands above her body, never touching her. And me as a performer, I'm going like, oh, that's a really cool performance, you know? And but then at some point, shit got real because all of a sudden, no words were ever exchanged at any point, but yet he would, let's say, go over her chest, raise his hand above her chest, and all of a sudden her chest would move. And then he would put his hand by the side of her head and pull to the side, and her head would move to the side. And now I'm looking at this going like, how the heck did that just happen? Like they're not talking, both eyes are closed. This doesn't make any sense to me. So now I'm paying attention. And then after a few moments, all of a sudden, like I see her, she starts to like tremble. Her face gets red. It looks like she's about to go into a rage fit. And then she just breaks down crying, does a bunch of releasing. And then all of a sudden, there's this palpable sense of peace in the air where like I could tell something just transformational happened and she felt better. And I'm just there like, what the hell was that? And so then at this point, he's after an hour runs up, he's just like, okay, you can open your eyes now. And then he explains to her, he's like, so I release things inside of you. He's like, but the reason why you were experiencing demons on the outside is because you had suppressed inner demons on the inside that you were completely ignoring, so they had to manifest in some other form. And I was just like, that makes sense. That's logical to me. I can accept that, you know? And so I was just like, cool. Like this guy's cool. He makes sense. Um, and so I paid him his money and I'm like, thanks, dude. And I'm about to leave. And as we're about to leave his room, he closes his eyes and he turns to me and he's just like, we have information for you. And I was just like, in my head, I'm like, who the fuck is we? I'm like, it's just me and you in this room. And he's just, he's in this channeling state, which I hadn't heard of at the time. And he's doing this channeling thing, and he just starts reading me, and he's just like, you think you're this macho, impressive magician who's a celebrity who gets girls and who da 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 da. But he's like, but really, the real you is soft and sensitive, and is meant to help people, and is designed to be a mentor, and has gifts and abilities like me that you long forgot about. And I didn't know what he was talking about at the time as far as gifts and abilities went. But what he gave me in that moment, it was the first time in a while I had felt resonance, because what he most gave me was this distinction between who I thought I was and who I truly was. I thought I was this macho, impressive magician, but the deeper me was this soft, sensitive dude that wants to help people. And I forgot about that. I'd rejected that when I was younger. And so what he left me with was this idea that the sooner I let go of who I think I need to be, the sooner I become more of who I truly am. And that's how I fill that void. And that's how I get on the path of purpose and fulfillment. And that was a major catalyst in my life. That changed my life. And he told me, he's like, you and I are going to be working together very soon. And I was just like, and I was still kind of like, I got what I needed from him. But I was just like, I don't know about all that, but like, thanks, dude, I'm out. And so what ended up happening was, in the weeks that followed, he kept sending me text messages when I was going through stuff, telling me what I was feeling. He's like, oh, you're stressed right now. Oh, like, he's like, you're feeling frustration. And I kept like reading it and dismissing it as cold reading. I'm like, who isn't feeling stressed in their day? Who isn't feeling frustrated? So it didn't impress me. And then, but what got me, it was the way I chalk it up now is, I feel like my spirit guides really needed to wake me up, and so they were causing next level shit to happen in order for this to happen. And so about a week or so after he had been texting me, there was a day where I was with my girlfriend at her house, and we had gotten into a really big fight, and I don't remember exactly what about now, but we got into a big fight, and I just remember I raised my voice, and I left her house, slammed the door, and started walking down the street. And then I get a text, and it's from the guy, it's from the mentor, and he's like, you just got into a fight with your girlfriend. This is what you fought about. You slammed the door and left the house, and now you're walking down the street. And I was just, and we're on completely different sides of Montreal at that point. I'm just like, how there was no possible way he could know that.
Yeah.
And then that's when I was just like, I'm like, okay, I'm like, I don't know what he's doing or how he's doing it, but he knows something that I don't, and I want to learn. And that was my entry point into learning real magic and spiritual gifts, and just the science of magic. And that's how it ended up starting for me.
And it's much more powerful than a card trick, isn't it?
It's definitely I don't know if I would say much more powerful, but it's just because they each serve their own purpose. But like, it's definitely yeah, it's definitely way more astonishing when you know that it's not a trick.
Yes.
Yeah.